Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday, dear Tiger. Happy birthday to you.
This is Kyle. I received this imaginary note from my dad to go with the video of his 100th birthday party. I have been planning this party for the last 6 months. I picked the location, the menu, and the guest list myself. Of course, I had logistical help from all of my near family, my extended hanai family, and former students and colleagues that have enriched my life. There are at least another 150 people I would like to have included, but at my age, I just couldn't remember who they were. Here is my sincerest thank you to everyone who attended. Please enjoy the video.
My sister has assigned me to do the toast. Probably was sort of dangerous. Hi, Dad. I tried to think of what I might want to say, and the first thing that came to mind was what my mother told me. She said, if you can't say anything nice about someone, so you're probably wondering why I'm so... Hi, Grace. So you're probably wondering why I'm so reluctant to say something about my father. Let me tell you why. He knows so many people, and he wouldn't use his influence on my behalf ever. I asked him, you know that journalist, Vox, political pundit, Dylan Matthews, can you introduce me to him?
I can.
And what does he say? No. I said, you know, my bed's worn out. You know David Lee, the master bed person on the island. Can you introduce me to him? Can you get me a bed? What does he say? No. I said, money man, Larry Johnson. Can you introduce me to him? Maybe get me a job. What does he say? No. I said, can you introduce me to Henry Capono? He says, who's that? I said, you know Henry Coyote. He goes, oh, yeah. No. But you all know, and you're all here, because you love him as much as his family does. And because this is Natsunoya Tea House, is everybody ready? Yeah. We're changing the tradition, the Japanese tradition slightly. Remember 3 times, right? You repeat after me. Ready, set?
Yep.
Tiger Tom. Tiger Tom.
Tiger Tom.
Tiger Tom. Tiger Tom. And thank you all for being here.
Some people have asked me, what's the secret to my longevity? And two things. One, living in Hawaii is one. And two, associating with young people for 40 years at Punahou and continuing. No way. I finished Middlebury College in January of 1950, and I looked for a job in a private school in New England, turned down every place because, one, I was married. They wanted single men to live in the dormitories. So I finally got a job in construction. They were building a dormitory at Middlebury College. I was the first day laborer hired. The guy gave me a pick, the foreman gave me a pick and a shovel and said, go out and dig a hole in the field. Well, in Vermont, in the wintertime, the ground is frozen 4 feet deep. So it took me all day to dig a hole a foot by a foot. And finally I got the hole dug. The foreman came out, looked at it, got into a bulldozer, and began to excavate for the building. I worked on that building for 3 or 4 months. It was great. I had to join the union, the day laborers and the hod carriers union. Does anybody know what a hod carrier is? Yes, okay. Denby knows, yes. And it was good work outside. We made our own cement. We had a cement mixer on the grounds, and it was really a very good experience all the way around. But my wife Jan was working at the Middlebury placement office, so she comes home one day and said, "How would you like to go to Hawaii?" I said, "Great, let's go." And she had a flyer that the headmaster of some school, and I couldn't pronounce the name, was going to be in Burlington on a Saturday. Should we go up and see if we could find him? Well, we did. I had an interview with, at that point, John Fox, who was the president. There were 35 of us. Prospective employees looking for the position. And John scared about 10 of them off. Really, he did, by telling them that if you're Catholic, we have a required Protestant service in Punahou, and everybody must participate. 10 guys got up and left. So John was then known as the anti-Catholic. So then he said, okay, who would like to begin? Well, you know me. I'm shy and bashful. So I said, well, I'll begin. And I gave him a spiel, what I'd been doing, private school. I told him I'd gone to St. Paul's School for Boys, which I had in Baltimore, Maryland. I'm sure he mixed it up with the St. Paul School for Boys in New Hampshire. Yeah. I'm sure of that, but anyhow. But we later found out that he really didn't need anybody. He was just going through the motions. And so I said, okay, that's the end of the Hawaii dream. In early June of 1950, I receive a telegram. Need a 6th grade teacher. Are you interested? Yes. John Fox. wire immediately. Well, I wired back and said, letter follows. And in the letter I said, well, we're expecting our first child, Kyle. Little did we know at that time. But, so John writes back, and I thought, well, this is the end. You know, he's going to say thank you very much. We don't need your services. John writes back and says, instead of an apartment, you qualify for a house on campus. And I thought, my God, what kind of a school is this anyhow? And I would find out 40 years later. Chad and I arrived in the middle of August, and we flew from New York, LaGuardia, to San Francisco, an all-day flight. We didn't have jets in those days, so it was a 10 to 12-hour flight. We had a hotel, get to the hotel. In the morning, the phone rings at 7 o'clock. Who would call me from San Francisco? Who would know? Well, it was the front desk. Mr. Metcalf, are you booked on the flight to Hawaii at 7 o'clock? It was 7 o'clock when they phoned me. I said, yes, I am. Well, believe it or not, they said, they're holding the plane for you. Can you believe that nowadays? They're holding the plane for you, and there's a limousine to take you to the airport. So we did that. Yeah, it's a day flight to again on the prop plane. Although it was a strata cruiser at that time, a double decker. I don't know whether you remember. Now we met at the airport by parents, 6th grade parents. They're going to take us to our home on campus? No. They're taking us to their party. They're having a party that night for the pilot of the United plane that flew us to Hawaii. He had to retire. He was 62. Forced retirement at that point. So finally, about 11 o'clock at night, they drop us off at campus. And we're bushed. We're 2 days from New York City to Hawaii. But in the morning, at around 7 o'clock, I hear a rustling in the kitchen. So I get up, I go look in the kitchen, and who is it? It's Dick the milkman, depositing milk and guava juice in our refrigerator. And we're from Vermont, and we don't do that. But we do it in Hawaii. I'm not done. So I'm teaching 6th grade, and by the way, some of my 6th grade students are here. John Howard, Randy Ward over here, Randy. Kathleen Cloud was supposed to be here, but somehow or other we got our something crossed. But anyhow, thank you for coming, you people. Appreciate it. Well, I started off in the 6th grade. Bob Corboy is here from the second 6th grade class that I had. Then I went to the 8th grade. Then I went to the academy. I was 7 years teaching experience, and one Friday in April of 1957, Walter Curtis, on a Friday afternoon, the last period of the day, comes into my classroom. Now, who visits the class at 2:15 in the afternoon, the last period on a Friday? Well, Walter does. I had learned that Walter's bark was worse than his bite. So I had a chair in the room for visitors. He takes a chair, he waits until every student is left, then he says to me, "Tom, come with me." You know, but after 7 years, you expect anything. But then, so we go downstairs, he goes out 204 or 204 Alexander, we go downstairs. He doesn't go into his office though. He goes to the middle of Alexander, then out the door into the quadrangle, and I think, now I'm beginning to get a little bit worried. What's going on? And he heads down toward Hawaii, where John's office was. Eileen Forrest, John's secretary, says go in to his office. We walk into his office, there's a chair in the middle of the floor. He says, "Tom, sit down." Yes, now I'm really concerned. And then, honest to God, the way he starts out, he says, "Tom, we know what your faults are." Thank you, John, so do I. And he did not say, but in spite of that, he didn't say that. He just said, "We know what your faults are." Then he says, "Well, we're appointing you to be a dean." The start of the dean system at Punahou School. He says, "You and 3 others are going to be the first 4 deans." The others were Betty Carter from the junior school, Jim Imes, who was the athletic director, and Jim Dool, who was a faculty member. And the 4 of us were appointed as the first deans at Punahou, which was very, very nice. Because the dean system is something, every class that I had, and I graduated 8 classes, every class, and every class is represented here today, except the class of '63. I don't know why I didn't invite somebody from '63. But I didn't. But I graduated 8 classes, and every class was different. Every class has its own personality and its own characteristics, which is the challenging part, but also the good part. Let's see, Lynn Suter, she was the dean. Bob Adam, he was here, he was my co-dean. We started co-deans in 1986, if I recall correctly. And co-deans, I don't know how many deans they have today. I mean, they're floating all over the place. Does anybody know how many deans we have today? Yes, Mike Latham is here, right? So he should go. Yes. First of all, I thank all of you for coming. I appreciate it very much.
Talking to the microphone.
Oh, yes. You got it. It's like a ice cream. Okay. My entire family is here. I have Jeremiah and Michelle and their son Carter, my great-grandson, Kaylin, Tom, and my great-granddaughter Grace, Ryan and Emily Austin, and my great-granddaughter Sylvie. And I've got Ashley and Jason are here, my granddaughter, and Kyla Blaze, another granddaughter, and my daughter Karen. I would like to thank Karen for the big help.
Metcalf, my Dean, and Marvin. Summer, Margie, Allison.
You're all notables as far as I'm concerned, all of you. But there are a few people that I would like to single out. Henry Kaihui is here. Thank you, Henry, for being here. Henry is a recipient of an O in life. Bob Akadaka is here. He's a recipient of an O in life. David Fairbanks is here. He's a recipient of an O in life. Dennis Hirota is here. He and his wife, and he's a recipient of an O in life. Mike Latham is here, the current president of Winona School. I have survived 4 presidents, and each one is unique in his own way and in his own manner. Starting with John Fox, Rod McPhee, Jim Scott, and now Mike Latham. But each one is unique and making a fantastic contribution to Winona. Bob Corboy is here. He was in my 6th grade class. He's $1 million life underwriter. Larry Johnson is here. Larry, former head of the Bank of Hawaii. He was in the class of 58, second life. We didn't have deans in those days. It didn't start until, well, no, we started 58 with the first class. Jim Ives was the dean. But I sang with the barbershop chorus for about 10 years. And at Christmas time, we would go downtown and serenade Christmas carols at different banks. We'd go to the Bank of Hawaii, up to the corporate office, and all the other choruses of the Aloha Chorus, barbershop chorus, would be amazed when the president of the bank would come out and shake my hand. Larry Johnson. Then we would go to Hooters for the lunch. 2 or 3 girls, waitresses, would always come over and give me a hug. That was more impressive with my chorus boys than Larry Johnson. I've already pointed out that John Howard is here from my original 6th grade, Ginny Broadhead and Brandy Moore. We have Willie Falk from the class of 76, actor, singer, entertainer. We have Nancy White, the headmistress of, for a while, of La Pietra. And we have Denby Fawcett, a journalist, writer, author, and that's about it.
Don't forget TJ and Timmy. TJ and Timmy. Your grandson, TJ and Timmy.
Oh.
And Megan. You just said the granddaughters.
Oh, my grandsons, Timmy and TJ. But there again, thank you for coming. I appreciate it. Oh, I hope to see you again at my 150th.
I'm not going to take a whole lot of time, but I have one song I want to play for you. And this was my dean, my favorite dean. My only dean. Spent a lot of time in his office. It was very inspirational. So thank you, Tom. And of course, our class is the best. This goes out to all of you from Tiger Tom. He's made a lot of friends throughout the years. So if you feel it, help me sing it. It's so nice to see familiar faces out in the crowd. It's so nice to see friends of mine enjoying themselves. And everybody get happy, 'cause we can work it out. Everybody, we are friends, friends. We are friends, friends. And I remember when I was down and now you came. I remember when you said, friend, hey, what's your name? And getting off on each other, we could work it out. We are friends, friends. We are friends, friends. The feelings are getting strong, and you feel like you belong. A closeness you can feel, the smiles that are real. We are friends. If you feel like singing with me, sing out loud. 'Cause it'll make you feel good just to sing right out. And be a part of it all. 'Cause we can work it out. Everybody, we are friends. Friends. We are friends. Friends. We are friends, everybody's friends. Friends. We are friends, oh, friends. We are friends, friends.
Up
to date.
Yes.
And so we were in some kind of shack.
We're leftover military.
Yeah, we were for half a year. But the thing I remember the most was we all had to wear shoes.
Yes. They started 6th grade wearing shoes. Yes.
Happy birthday to you. Birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Father. Happy birthday to you.
We'll cut it and we'll start to send it out, okay?
Sounds great.
Did you get a chance to eat anything?
Tom, you were always my dance inspiration. Barishnikov had nothing on you.
Although Tiger's 100th birthday party has come to an end, we will continue to share his warmth, his sense of humor, and as John Cheever said, his incredible sense of fair play. We miss our mother Tutu and our brother Scott, but know they were here celebrating with us. Mahalo to my sister Karen for leading this charge under Dad's guidance. We thank the setup group, the teardown group, and all of those in between who came from thousands of miles away to honor our dad. I speak for the Tiger. Aloha to all of my friends who celebrated this day with me.
All right, we want to send out a big birthday shout out to Tiger Tom Metcalf, turned 100 years old yesterday.
Metcalf was surrounded by family and friends at a birthday bash to celebrate the milestone. Originally from New York, Metcalf was a member of the Army Air Corps cadet program in the 1940s before the program became the Air Force. He went to college in Vermont where he met his wife of 73 years.
They moved to Hawaii when Tiger got a job as a teacher at Punahou School. And that 2-year contract turned into a 40-year career as a beloved dean at Punahou. Metcalf has 4 children, 7 grandchildren, 3 great-grandchildren. Says the secret to a long life is staying in touch with youth. Happy birthday, Tiger. All the best to you and the family.
That is definitely a milestone.